You have been lied to about success. You were led to believe that you must wait until you see results before you have the right to think, feel, and act like a successful person. That is the first and most destructive mistake. Life does not work that way. The world does not suddenly open its doors because you have finally earned enough suffering or collected enough proof. The world responds to those who decide, long before there is evidence, that they will think like success until reality has no choice but to obey. If you refuse to think like success until you see it, you will never see it. You will spend your days reacting to circumstances instead of creating them, bowing to the visible and betraying the invisible law that governs all achievement. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, and so he becomes. Look at the lives around you. Most people are ruled by what they can touch, measure, and count. If their pockets are empty, they think poor. If their days are hard, they think defeated. If others doubt them, they think small. They allow outer facts to sculpt inner belief, and then they wonder why nothing changes. They do not see that their thoughts are not only mirrors, but molders. The thoughts they accept today become the conditions they meet tomorrow. They are using the law, but using it against themselves. You must break out of that pattern. You must reverse the order. You must make your inner world the master and the outer world the servant. You must think like success first and let the world catch up later. Thinking like success before you see it is not pretending. It is not walking around boasting or claiming what you have never worked for. It is not empty talk. Real success thinking is an inner standard, a private covenant between you and your own mind. It is the decision that, regardless of what your current circumstances scream, you will think, speak, and act in harmony with the result you are committed to build. It is the refusal to let temporary lack dictate permanent identity. The man who thinks like success does not deny that he has bills to pay, skills to learn, or mountains to climb. He simply refuses to let those facts define who he is or where he is going. He sees them as steps, not prisons. The first act of thinking like success is to choose a definite chief aim. You cannot think like success around nothing. Drifting thoughts produce drifting lives. Success requires direction. Sit alone with yourself and strip away every vague wish, every half-hearted desire, every borrowed ambition. Ask yourself, with ruthless honesty, what do I truly intend to accomplish with my life? What result will I pursue so persistently that I am willing to think about it, work for it, and sacrifice for it until it becomes real? When that answer rises, do not dismiss it because it seems too large. Greatness always appears unreasonable to the timid mind. Write your aim down in clear, commanding words. Not I hope or I wish, but I will. Once your chief aim is decided, you must begin to install it into your mind as a living reality. This is where most men fail. They decide once, feel inspired for a day, and then allow old habits to drag them back into the mud of doubt. To think like success, you must visit your aim every single day with deliberate attention. Each morning, before the world demands your energy, close your eyes and see yourself already in possession of the results you seek. Picture the work you do, the people you influence, the confidence in your step, the calm in your face. Let that picture be so clear that you can almost feel the weight of it. Then say to yourself with firm conviction, this is mine, not someday by accident, but by law, if I continue to think and act in harmony with it. Do not underestimate the power of this exercise because it seems simple. The mind cannot distinguish for long between a vividly imagined reality and a physically present one. Whatever picture you hold, with emotion and repetition, your subconscious will accept as instruction. It will begin to filter your perception, attract opportunities, sharpen your instincts, and direct your actions to turn that picture into fact. If you persist, your outer life will begin to rearrange itself around the image you have planted. The timid call this luck. The ignorant call it coincidence. The wise call it law. But there is a condition. You cannot plant a picture of success for an hour in the morning and then spend the day watering weeds. If you rehearse victory in private and then speak defeat in public, you are fighting yourself. If you imagine abundance but constantly complain about lack, you are building and destroying at the same time. Thinking like success before you see it requires alignment. Your words, your tone, your posture, and your daily conduct must agree with the results you claim. When you talk about your future, talk as one who expects to arrive, not as one who is secretly waiting to fail. When you describe your present difficulties, do so as a builder describing raw material, not as a victim describing a life sentence. This inner alignment will not come naturally at first. You have spent years being trained by circumstances to think small, to anticipate disappointment, to protect yourself from hope. Do not hate yourself for this. Simply recognize that it is no longer acceptable. Each time you catch yourself speaking as a failure, correct yourself immediately. Replace that statement. Straighten your shoulders. Remember your chief aim and restate your confidence. At first, this will feel forced. In time, it will become natural. You are training your mind as a craftsman trains his hands. Discipline today becomes ease tomorrow. Thinking like success before you see it also requires that you change your relationship with present reality. The unsuccessful man worships what is. If his work is dull, he believes his future must be dull. If his days are small, he thinks his destiny is small. He kneels before current facts as if they were gods. The man who thinks like success respects facts, but he never worships them. He uses them. He takes inventory of where he is, not to surrender to it, but to understand what raw material he has to work with. He says, "This is where I stand today. This is what I lack. This is what I possess. This is what I must learn. This is what I must overcome." Then he turns his mind back to his chief aim and asks, "Given where I am, what is the next step toward where I am going?" That one question, honestly asked and answered each day, will do more to transform your life than 1,000 vague wishes. It forces you to think like an architect, not a spectator. It directs your attention forward instead of backward. The man who always asks, "Why is this happening to me?" remains a victim. The man who asks, "What will I do next?" becomes a creator. You cannot think like success and think like a victim at the same time. You must choose. You must also learn to separate your identity from your current performance. Perhaps you have failed in the past. Perhaps you have disappointed yourself or others. Perhaps your habits today are not worthy of the vision you carry. A weak mind uses this as evidence that it is doomed to remain ordinary. A strong mind uses it as evidence that there is work to be done. Thinking like success does not mean lying to yourself about your faults. It means looking them in the eye without flinching, acknowledging them without self-hatred, and resolving to correct them because they do not fit the man or woman you intend to be. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are what you repeatedly decide to become. This is why self-talk is so crucial. Listen to the way you address yourself when you are alone. Do you call yourself names, rehearse your failures, predict your own defeat? Then you are poisoning the soil in which your success must grow. You must speak to yourself as a commander speaks to his troops. honest about the difficulty, but unwavering about victory. Say to yourself, I have not yet reached my standard, but I am advancing. I have not yet arrived, but I am on the way. I refuse to quit. I refuse to think small. I refuse to surrender my mind to despair. These words are not mere sounds. They are orders issued to your subconscious. If you repeat them with feeling, your inner world will begin to obey. As you maintain this inner discipline, you will discover a strange and powerful shift. You will begin to feel slightly out of place in your current life, as though the walls around you are too small. This is good. It is the sign that your mind has already moved ahead of your circumstances. You will find certain conversations no longer interest you. Complaints will sound more hollow. Gossip will feel like a waste of breath. You will hunger for knowledge, for challenge, for opportunities to express the larger self you are building in thought. Do not be alarmed by this restlessness. It is the birth pain of a new identity. Let it drive you forward, not backward. Soon you will notice that even your smallest choices begin to change. You will choose order over disorder, commitment over laziness, preparation over carelessness. You will refuse to waste the hours that can be invested in your growth. You will take care of your appearance, not for vanity, but because you respect the person you are becoming. All of these are fragments of one great declaration. I expect more from myself because I am destined for more. People around you will sense this shift, even if they cannot explain it. Some will be drawn to it. Others may feel threatened by it. Your task is not to explain yourself, but to continue. In time, your thinking will begin to show itself in your behavior. You will carry yourself differently. You will prepare more thoroughly. You will arrive on time, keep your word, and give more than is expected of you, not because someone is watching, but because this is how the man of your vision behaves. You are rehearsing your future in the present. Each act of discipline is a declaration. I belong where I am going. The world takes note of such people. Doors that were once closed begin to open. Hands that were once withheld begin to extend. What changed? You did, first in thought, then in action, and reality is merely catching up. Understand this. You will always live in the image you hold of yourself. The poor mind can be handed riches and lose them. The fearful mind can be given responsibility and flee from it. The doubtful mind can be presented with opportunity and talk itself out of taking it. If you want lasting success, you must first become, in thought and character, the kind of person who can sustain it. That transformation begins with the decision to think like success before you see it, to live from your vision and not from your history. Hold this as your foundation. You are no longer permitted to think as a victim of circumstance. You are no longer allowed to shrink your thinking to match your current environment. From this moment, you will learn to command your mind, to direct it, to saturate it daily with your chief aim until it becomes the central axis around which your entire life turns. In the next part, you will see how to convert this inner posture into daily habits, how to act as success acts while you are still building, and how to persist when time and difficulty attempt to shake the thought that now defines you. You have taken the first step. You have declared a definite chief aim and begun to think of yourself not as a drifting spectator, but as a builder of destiny. Yet knowing what you want and deciding to think like success is only the beginning. The true test is not found in a single moment of decision, but in the thousands of small choices you make afterward. It is easy to think like success for an hour. It is another matter to hold that thought through long days of work, through criticism, through fatigue, through delay. This is where most people abandon their vision. They do not lose because the law failed them, but because they fail to stay in harmony with it long enough. If you are to be different, you must now learn how to carry this success consciousness into your daily habits, your environment, your emotions, and your conduct, until it becomes as natural to you as breathing. Begin with the simplest but most revealing question. How do you move through an ordinary day? Not the day of triumph, nor the day of great opportunities, but the common, quiet day when no one is watching and no praise is offered. That day exposes what you truly think of yourself. The man who thinks like failure treats such days as obstacles to be endured, filling them with distraction, idleness, or complaint. The man who thinks like success treats such days as raw material. He asks himself, what can I build, learn, strengthen, or prepare today that brings me closer to my aim? Thinking like success before you see it means you no longer live by moods, you live by intention. Whether you feel inspired or not, you show up for your own future. The first arena in which you must enforce this intention is habit. Habits are the silent architects of your destiny. What you do repeatedly, almost without thinking, reveals what you truly believe you deserve. Look carefully at your current habits. How do you spend the first hour of your day? In confusion, noise, and haste, or in order, planning, and quiet focus? Do you allow circumstances to seize your attention, or do you seize the day with a deliberate thought of your chief aim? The man who thinks like success uses the beginning of each day to remind his mind who is in command. He rises with purpose, not laziness. He orders his surroundings, for he knows external order supports internal clarity. He takes a few moments to repeat his aim, review his plans, and imagine his success already in motion. This simple habit alone can elevate a life from drifting to directed. Next, examine your work habits. Do you give only the minimum required, watching the clock, doing just enough to avoid criticism? That is the mentality of a man who has already accepted defeat. He lives as a hired hand in his own life. The one who thinks like success understands that every task, no matter how humble, is a chance to rehearse greatness. If you are sweeping a floor, sweep it like a man who expects to manage a great enterprise. If you are serving another's vision today, serve as one who knows he is training to lead his own tomorrow. Excellence is not something you switch on when a great opportunity appears. It is something you practice when no one seems to care. The universe never entrusts larger responsibilities to those who neglect the small. You must also take command of your environment, for no mind, however strong, can remain untouched by the atmosphere in which it lives. Look honestly at the people with whom you spend your time. Do they speak of building, improving, advancing? Or do they feast on gossip, complaint, and excuses? Thinking like success before you see it demands a higher standard of company. You do not need to hate or condemn anyone, but you must be wise enough to protect the soil of your mind from constant contamination. Spend more time in the presence of those who expect progress from themselves. If such people are rare in your circle, seek them in books. Let great thinkers, great builders, and great leaders become your silent allies through their words. This is not imagination. It is apprenticeship of the mind. Guard also what enters through your eyes and ears. The stories you consume, the conversations you entertain, the subjects you dwell upon all leave their mark. If you fill your mind with tales of failure, corruption, and despair, do not be surprised when you begin to expect the same for yourself. If you allow your thoughts to be constantly dragged down to trivial matters, you cannot expect them to rise to greatness on command. Thinking like success means choosing what deserves your attention. Invest your mental energy in ideas, plans, and knowledge that increase your capacity instead of draining your courage. Another vital step is mastering your emotional responses. Most people are puppets of their feelings. If they feel tired, they quit early. If they feel discouraged, they retreat. If they feel offended, they lose days in resentment. Success does not yield to such undisciplined hearts. Thinking like success before you see it requires that you become the ruler of your emotions, not their servant. This does not mean you no longer feel anger, fear, or sorrow. It means you refuse to let these emotions dictate your actions. When fear whispers, you move forward anyway. When discouragement presses, you return to your purpose and ask, what is one step I can still take? When anger flares, you pause and let reason speak before your tongue does. Each time you act contrary to a destructive emotion, you announce to your subconscious that your vision, not your mood, is king. Train yourself to return quickly to your chief aim whenever you are shaken. An insult, a disappointment, a sudden setback. These are tests of your mental training. The undisciplined mind lets one bad moment stain an entire day. The disciplined mind feels the sting, acknowledges it, and then says, nevertheless, my aim remains. What can I do now toward it? This habit of swift recovery separates the eventual victor from the permanent victim. The world is not changed by those who never fall, but by those who refuse to stay down. Thinking like success also demands that you change how you interpret difficulty. The average man looks at a problem and sees only an obstacle. He asks, why is this happening to me? And sinks into self-pity or blame. The success thinker asks, what does this require of me? What skill, patience, or wisdom is this situation trying to teach? The same event that breaks one man can build another, depending solely on the thought through which he receives it. You must decide now that every challenge that confronts you will be treated as training. The heavier the weight, the stronger you will become by lifting it. This is not a comforting phrase. It is a working philosophy. You will find that as you practice this, your confidence slowly shifts from fragile hope to quiet certainty. At first, you may have needed constant reassurance. You looked for signs that your new thinking was working. As you persist, the signs will not disappear, but they will no longer be your anchor. Your anchor will be your own proven discipline. You will know from personal experience that when you keep your thought aligned with your aim and your actions consistent with your thought, results eventually follow. This knowledge is worth more than gold, for it frees you from dependence on luck. There is another crucial aspect of thinking like success before you see it, the way you speak. Your words reveal your deepest expectations. Listen to yourself when you discuss your future. Do you weaken your own aims with phrases like, if it works, if I am lucky, if nothing goes wrong? Those are the sounds of a man courting failure. Replace such talk with language of certainty and determination. Say, I will find a way. I am learning what is required. Each day, I am getting closer. Speak of obstacles as temporary, of lessons as valuable, of your direction as non-negotiable. This is not boasting. It is programming. Your subconscious hears your words and adjusts your attitudes, your energy, and your behavior to fit them. At the same time, avoid the foolish extreme of empty bragging. The man who constantly talks of what he will do, seeking admiration and approval, is still a slave to the opinions of others. True success thinking is quiet but firm. You do not need to announce your every move. You need only speak with conviction when called upon, and let your work supply the rest. The tree does not shout that it is growing. It simply grows until its presence cannot be ignored. Now consider the way you use your time. Time is the raw material of all achievement. Every hour that passes unused is a stone discarded that might have been part of your temple. Thinking like success forces you to examine how you spend this most precious resource. Ask yourself daily, is what I am doing now in harmony with the person I intend to be? If the answer is no, you are betraying your future. This does not mean you can never rest or enjoy leisure. It means even your leisure should refresh you, not corrupt you. The man who thinks like success uses rest to sharpen his mind and renew his strength, not to escape reality or drown his dissatisfaction. Set aside specific hours for the advancement of your chief aim. Guard these hours as you would guard treasure. In them, read, study, practice, plan, or execute tasks directly related to your vision. Do not allow lesser demands to intrude. When you honor these appointments with your future, you send a powerful message to your own mind. I take my purpose seriously. Over time, these dedicated hours, though they may seem small at first, accumulate into skill, knowledge, and progress that set you leagues apart from the man who always means to improve but never schedules it. Thinking like success before you see it requires that you also confront your weaknesses honestly. Do not hide from your deficiencies. They are simply areas in need of training. If you are disorganized, learn order. If you are timid, practice courage in small matters. If you lack knowledge, study. If you lack discipline, impose simple rules on yourself and obey them. Each correction, no matter how small, is a stone laid in the foundation of your future. The mind that avoids its weaknesses from pride will be humiliated by them later. The mind that faces them with humility and resolve will one day be respected for its strength. As you do this work, you may hear a dangerous thought creeping in. When I finally succeed, I will begin to live like this. That thought must be crushed at once. You must live like success now, in mind, habit, and attitude, or you will never reach the day you imagine. The outer result is not the cause of inner greatness, it is its reflection. You are not preparing for success. You are practicing it. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, vision over distraction, and faith over doubt, you are thinking like the man who has already arrived. This inner posture will begin to change the way others see you. Without your trying, your presence will carry more weight. People will notice your steadiness under pressure, your refusal to speak ill of others, your ability to work without constant supervision, your habit of finishing what you start. They may not know what has changed, but they will feel it. Some will trust you with more. Some will test you. Some may envy you. Do not concern yourself with their reactions. Your business is not to manage their opinions, but to continue managing your own mind. In time, if you persist in these disciplines, you will find a quiet but unshakable conviction growing inside you. It will no longer matter that the full result has not yet appeared. You will know you are on the right road because you have become the right traveler. You will no longer ask, will I succeed? But how far can I go now that I have learned the law? That shift from fear to curiosity, from doubt to exploration, is the true beginning of mastery. You have now seen that thinking like success before you see it is not a single thought, but a way of life. It is present in your mornings and your evenings, your work and your rest, your speech and your silence, your partnerships and your solitude. In the next part, you will go even deeper into the inner architecture of this mindset. How to handle long delays without losing spirit. How to convert failure into fuel. and how to hold such a powerful inner picture of your future that no force, seen or unseen, can take it from you. You are now approaching the most misunderstood territory in the entire journey of success. The long stretch where nothing seems to happen. You have chosen your chief aim. You have begun to shape your habits. You are watching your thoughts with greater care, and yet your outer world may still resemble the old life. The same job, the same bills, the same faces, the same routine. This is the point where many respectable, well-intentioned people surrender their dreams. They do not say it aloud. They do not burn their written goals or openly declare defeat. They simply let their thinking sink back to the level of their surroundings. They become realistic, which is another word for spiritually defeated. If you are to think like success before you see it, you must understand what this season truly is and how to pass through it without losing your mind, your courage, or your vision. First, understand this. Delay is not denial. It is a test of alignment. The law of cause and effect does not operate on your preferred schedule. The seed does not sprout because the farmer is impatient. It sprouts because sufficient time, care, and conditions have converged. In the same way, your persistent thought, disciplined habits, and sustained action must be given time to compound before they manifest in visible form. If you plant for 3 days and dig up the field on the 4th because you do not see crops, the failure is not in the soil, but in your lack of faith and understanding. The world belongs to those who keep planting when others have gone home in disgust. In this season of apparent stillness, your greatest enemy is not circumstance, it is interpretation. The weak mind interprets delay as proof that nothing is working, that fate is against me, that perhaps I aimed too high. The strong mind interprets delay as training. It says, something is being built within me that is not yet visible. I am developing patience, consistency, and depth. I am being enlarged for the thing I've asked for. Remember this. If your outer life grew too fast for your inner strength, your own success would crush you. The law is merciful in this regard. It withholds what you are not yet able to carry. Your task is not to complain about the timing, but to become the kind of person who can hold what you have requested. You will be tempted in this period by comparison. You will see others advancing faster, men whose discipline is weaker, whose purpose is smaller, whose standards are lower. You will watch them praised, promoted, celebrated, while your own work remains unseen. If you are not careful, you will turn your gaze from your own lane and poison your spirit with envy. Nothing destroys success thinking faster than comparison. It takes your eyes off your chief aim and fixes them on someone else's path, a path whose beginning, burdens, and bargains you do not know. When you measure yourself against another man's apparent progress, you insult your own destiny. You suggest, silently, that the law has made a mistake in dealing with you. That is a lie. Your time is not his time. Your test is not his test. Your responsibility is not his responsibility. To think like success before you see it, you must learn to bless the progress of others without diminishing your own. When you see someone else advance, say within yourself, this is proof that advancement is possible. If the law works for him, it will work for me. My harvest is on its way. Let the success of others be evidence, not accusation. Use it as confirmation that the unseen intelligence that organizes opportunities is still active. This keeps your mind in harmony with abundance instead of scarcity. The man who resents another's gain shuts his own door to increase. The man who rejoices in another's progress widens his capacity to receive. The silence of this season will also expose your true motives. Many people desire success only for the sake of appearance, comfort, or superiority. When immediate gratification does not arrive, their interest withers. But if your aim is truly rooted in purpose, if you desire to build, to serve, to express the fullest measure of your ability, then delay cannot kill it. It may frustrate you, it may exhaust you, but it will not remove the fire from your bones. In this way, time separates wishers from builders. The wishers fade. The builders grow more resolved. Part of thinking like success is being honest with yourself about why you want what you say you want. A shallow reason will not withstand a long test. A deep reason will become deeper under pressure. During these long stretches, it is crucial that you maintain visible proof to yourself of inner progress, even if outer results remain modest. Keep a record of your daily victories, no matter how small. Did you rise when you wanted to stay in bed? Did you practice your skill when no one required it? Did you control your temper when it could have easily ruled you? Did you turn a free hour into study instead of mindless distraction? Write these things down. Review them at the end of each week. You will begin to see a pattern, a steady, almost invisible upward movement in character, concentration, and competence. This is not self-flattery. It is evidence. It reminds you that even when externals lag, your inner capital is increasing. You must also refine the way you deal with failure in this stage. Failure will come, not as a single event, but as a series of disappointments, miscalculations, and missed steps. These are not signs that you should quit. They are proof that you are moving. The man who never fails is the man who never attempts. To think like success before you see it is to decide in advance what failure will mean. Say to yourself now, every time I fail, I will ask, what is this trying to teach me? Where is the lesson hidden? I will not waste my failures. I will convert each one into experience, each disappointment into direction, each mistake into a refinement of my method. If you adopt this stance, failure becomes a teacher, not a tormentor. Be especially wary of the thought, I should have been further along by now. That sentence has crushed more destinies than any outward opponent. It turns your mind against your own journey. It suggests that time has betrayed you, but time owes you nothing. It simply amplifies whatever you place within it. Instead of accusing the calendar, examine your consistency. Have you truly been thinking, acting, and living every day in harmony with your chief aim? Or have you been alternating between bursts of intensity and stretches of neglect? If you have neglected, forgive yourself and recommit. If you have been faithful, then trust the compounding power of persistence. Seeds do not ask the clock when they may sprout. They obey inward law. You must do the same. In this season, your imagination becomes both your shield and your sword. Without imagination, you will drown in what is. With imagination, you will remain anchored in what can and must be. Each day, especially when outer evidence is scarce, deliberately enter the world of your fulfilled aim. Do not do this vaguely. See the details. Imagine the place where you work, the faces of those you serve, the strength in your posture, the authority in your words. Feel the ease of moving in an environment you have mastered. Hear the simple, quiet respect in the way people speak your name. Do not rush through this. Let it shape your emotions until for a few moments you forget that it is imagination at all. When you open your eyes, carry that feeling with you. That is success thinking, living mentally in tomorrow's reality while you are still walking through today's conditions. Some will argue that such imagination is dangerous, that it will only lead to disappointment. But disappointment is not born from seeing a better future. It is born from refusing to work for it. Imagination without discipline breeds fantasy. Imagination coupled with daily effort breeds transformation. You must hold both, the exalted vision and the humble labor. One keeps your spirit alive. The other gives your vision bones and flesh. The man who abandons vision because it hurts to hope sentences himself to a lifetime of smallness. Better to be wounded while reaching upward than to remain safe on the ground, watching others climb. You must also, in this quiet stage, master the art of speaking about your journey. People will ask how you are doing, what you are working on, where your plans stand. You must not use these moments to spread doubt or gather pity. Do not speak as a defeated man hoping someone will rescue him. Speak as a builder in the middle of construction. You may say, I am still working. I am learning. I am making progress each day. My plans are advancing. You do not have to exaggerate or invent success that has not yet arrived. You simply frame your present as part of a living process, not as a stagnant condition. This protects your own mind from hearing your tongue declare failure. As you persist, something remarkable begins to happen. Your inner and outer worlds draw closer. People start to respond differently to you. You attract conversations you once had to chase. Opportunities appear that seem strangely aligned with your aim. A chance comment reveals a solution you needed. A door opens where yesterday there was a wall. The timid call this luck. The embittered call it unfair. The wise recognize it as the delayed echo of their previous thoughts, words, and actions. The law returns to you what you have been broadcasting, often in forms you did not anticipate. When this begins, do not panic or shrink back. Many people, surprisingly, are more frightened by opportunity than by difficulty. They have grown accustomed to struggle and almost comfortable with the identity of the one who is trying. Actual success demands that you accept responsibility, make bolder decisions, and step fully into the role you have rehearsed in your imagination. Thinking like success before you see it was your rehearsal. When the curtain rises and life places you on the stage, you must act the part without apology. Do not say, I am not ready. If you have been faithful in the inner work, you are more ready than you think. This is also the stage where self-sabotage likes to appear. Deep inside, you may carry unexamined beliefs about what you deserve. If you secretly believe you are unworthy of abundance, love, influence, or stability, you will unconsciously create delays, make poor choices, or retreat just as things begin to go well. To prevent this, you must spend time uprooting the lies you have believed about yourself. Ask, where did I learn that I do not deserve good? Who taught me that my dreams were foolish? Then gradually replace those old messages with new ones. I am a builder. I am a student of law. I am willing to carry responsibility. I am allowed to grow. These are not sentimental phrases. They are antidotes to poison absorbed in ignorance. Throughout this entire season, gratitude is your strongest safeguard. Gratitude keeps your heart from hardening and your mind from souring. Each day, no matter how far you still are from your outward aim, give thanks for every sign of progress within yourself. Give thanks for the disciplines you have gained, the knowledge you have gathered, the bad habits you have weakened, the small doors that have opened. Gratitude does not mean you are satisfied to stay where you are. It means you acknowledge that your journey is underway and that you are not abandoned in it. A grateful man sees more to be grateful for. A bitter man sees more to despise. Both are looking at the same world. Their thoughts determine what they find. If you endure this stage with understanding, you will emerge from it as a different person. Not only will your circumstances begin to change, but you yourself will be changed. You will have learned to keep your mind steady while everything outside of you wavered. You will have proven to yourself that you can act from vision instead of emotion, from purpose instead of pressure. That proof is more valuable than any single success, because it means you can now build again and again, in any season, in any field. You will know from experience that the law is not a theory, it is a fact you have lived. This is how you think like success before you see it in its most advanced form. You hold your aim through boredom, through delay, through other people's progress, through your own mistakes, and through stretches of time when the only evidence you have is the man you are becoming. You refuse to bow to the visible, as if it were final. You remain loyal to your unseen blueprint. And one day, the world will finally see what you have seen for years. When that happens, you will not be surprised. Others will call it sudden, but you will know it was a long time coming. They will ask, how did you do it? And you will understand that the real answer cannot fit into a single sentence. It was not one trick, one chance encounter, one lucky moment. It was a way of thinking, a way you began long before any of them believed in you. In the next part, you will learn how to carry that same mindset into the very moment of arrival so that your success does not destroy you, and how to remain a master of your thoughts when the world finally begins to reflect back the greatness you decided upon in silence. You have now reached the threshold that most men dream about, but few ever cross. You stand at the edge of visible change. The work you have done in secret has begun to show itself in public. Doors that were once closed are opening. Men who never noticed you before are starting to pay attention. You can feel the difference in how you walk, how you speak, how you face the day. This is the moment you once called someday, and yet now that it has approached, you must be more alert than ever. For many who manage to touch success with their hands lose it just as quickly, not because the law failed them, but because they forgot how they gained it. They stop thinking like success and start thinking like frightened guards of what they have. If you wish your success to endure, if you want it to become the beginning of a greater life rather than the peak of a brief climb, you must carry the same inner posture into prosperity that you learned in obscurity. You must think like success when you see it with your eyes, just as you thought like success when it existed only in your mind. The first danger at this stage is pride disguised as arrival. You will be tempted to believe that you are now there, that you have graduated from the discipline that formed you. Others will feed this illusion. They will praise you, flatter you, call you gifted, different, destined. If you listen to them instead of the law, you will begin to relax the very habits that made your ascent possible. The mind that once guarded its thoughts closely will begin to indulge in vanity. The man who once studied daily will begin to coast on yesterday's understanding. The worker who once did more than required will begin to do only what is necessary to protect his position. All of this is the beginning of decline. To think like success at the top is to remember that there is no top, only levels of responsibility. Each new result is not a throne, but a training ground for the next assignment. When a builder finishes one house, he does not retire his tools and boast for the rest of his years. He turns to the next design. So, when life finally reflects your inner image, do not crown yourself and sit down. Pick up your tools of thought, discipline, and persistence, and continue. The second danger is fear of loss. Before, you had little to lose but your pride. Now, you may have more reputation, resources, influence, obligations, a larger circle of people depending on your judgment. If you are not careful, your thinking will shift from creation to protection, from boldness to caution, from faith to anxiety. You will find yourself making decisions based on what you fear might be taken from you instead of what you know you are called to build. Fear will whisper, be careful, do not risk, do not grow, hold tightly to what you have. That voice seems prudent, but it is poison. The same courage that carried you through the valley is required on the mountain. The law did not bring you this far to imprison you in the cage of your own success. You must continue to think expansively, to make decisions from vision, not from panic. Ask yourself in moments of uncertainty, if I still had nothing, if I were back where I began, what would the man of my chief aim choose now? Then choose that and trust that the same law that supplied you at the beginning will sustain you at a higher level. At this stage, you must redefine growth. In the early days, you measured progress by visible markers: more skill, more opportunity, more income, more recognition. Those will still come. But if you make them your only measurement, you will eventually chase shadows. True advancement now lies in depth, not just breadth. It lies in the quality of your thought, the strength of your character, the steadiness of your spirit under greater weight. Thinking like success after success arrives means asking, am I becoming a wiser steward of what I have built? Am I more disciplined than before, or less? Is my mind clearer or more cluttered? Does my purpose burn brighter, or has it been dimmed by comfort? These questions prevent you from mistaking busyness for progress and accumulation for advancement. You must also expand your understanding of service. When you were climbing, your vision naturally focused on escaping your limitations, proving your ability, and establishing your place. Once you have entered a measure of success, the law demands something more. The one who thinks like enduring success begins to ask, how can I use what I have gained to enlarge others? How can my insight, my resources, my influence become a channel instead of a reservoir? A reservoir collects and hoards until its water stagnates. A channel is continually filled because it continually pours. If you make your success a means of service through fair leadership, honest business, mentorship, teaching, or simple daily kindness, you align yourself with abundance. Life increases those who increase life for others. There is a subtle shift in identity you must guard. Before, you thought of yourself as the underdog, the climber, the one in training. That identity kept you hungry. Now others may begin to treat you as an authority, a finished product, one who has figured it out. If you accept that identity, your learning will slow, your curiosity will shrink, and your mind will begin to harden. The great paradox of true success is this: the more you grow, the more you must see yourself as a student. To think like success at any level is to remain teachable. Set aside time to study as diligently in prosperity as you did in struggle. Seek counsel from those who have traveled further. Listen more than you speak. Correct yourself more quickly than you correct others. The soil that stops receiving seed stops producing fruit. At this point, you must renew your relationship with solitude. During your climb, you may have dreamed of a day when your time would be fully occupied with important meetings, respected invitations, and pressing engagements. If you are not careful, you will drown in this flood. Constant noise, even if it is praise, clouds the mind. You need regular hours where you withdraw from the applause, the demands, and the movement to be alone with your thoughts and your aim. Use these quiet times to ask, am I still moving in the direction of my true purpose? Or have I been pulled into roles that do not belong to me? Have I drifted into pleasing others at the expense of obeying the vision that brought me here? Solitude is where you recalibrate. It is where you remember that your first loyalty is not to reputation, but to purpose and law. Thinking like success before you see it required you to believe in a self others could not yet recognize. Thinking like success after you see it requires you to remember the self that existed before any of this came. Do not permit the trappings of achievement to bury the clarity you had when you began. You may have more clothes now, more duties, more rooms, more voices around you, but beneath all that you are still the same mind that once sat alone with a blank page and wrote, "This is what I will build." Keep that moment alive within you. Visit it often. It will keep you honest when flattery tries to swell you and keep you bold when fear tries to shrink you. Another test will come in the form of temptations you did not face before. Power attracts opportunities to compromise. You will have chances to cut corners, to take advantage of those below you, to accept gains that violate the very principles you used to climb. The man who thinks only of maintaining his status may yield, reasoning that this is how things are done at this level. But the one who truly thinks like success knows that no result is worth corrupting the mind that must live with it. He understands that the real treasure is not the position he holds, but the character he has built. He would rather lose an advantage than lose himself. Law is on his side, for though corruption may prosper for a moment, it always carries the seed of collapse. Honor carries the seed of endurance. This is the time to refine your standards. Raise them, do not lower them. Demand more of yourself in honesty, in punctuality, in thoroughness, in preparation, in the way you treat every person you meet. Act not as if you are above anyone, but as if you are responsible to set an example at all times. The eyes are on you now, perhaps the eyes of your children, your colleagues, your community, or unseen observers whose respect you may never fully realize. The thought that built your success was not, "How little can I do?" but, "How fully can I express my best?" Hold to that. The more you grow, the more your life becomes a silent instruction to everyone around you about what is possible, what is acceptable, and what is honorable. As your influence widens, you will feel the pull of many expectations. People will project their desires, fears, and opinions onto you. Some will want you to remain who you were when they first met you. Others will demand that you become something you are not in order to fulfill their plans. To think like success is to listen without becoming enslaved. You weigh what you hear against your definite chief aim and the law you have proven. If a suggestion strengthens your purpose and aligns with principle, consider it carefully. If it pulls you off course, you let it go, even if it disappoints those who offered it. You cannot lead by following everyone's wishes. You must remain captain of your own soul. At this stage, your thoughts about time must also mature. When you were fighting to escape lack, urgency drove you. You may have felt that every day, every hour had to be a desperate sprint. Now, with a broader view, you must learn the difference between urgency and importance. Not every loud demand deserves your attention. Some matters are urgent only because of someone else's disorder. Others are important precisely because they are quiet, reflection, planning, careful hiring, training the next generation, tending to your health, nurturing key relationships. The man who thinks like success at a high level uses his mind not only to make gains, but to preserve the structure that supports those gains. He sees time as a field to be planted wisely, not as a series of fires to put out. Do not allow nostalgia to paralyze you. There will be moments when you look back fondly at the simpler days, when your responsibilities were fewer and your battles more straightforward. You may be tempted to retreat inwardly, to long for an easier path. Recognize this for what it is. a longing for comfort, not for purpose. You did not climb to escape work. You climbed to expand your work. The mind that thinks like success continues to welcome challenge because it understands that challenge is the instrument by which potential is drawn out. You have more in you than you have yet expressed. Let the new level demand it of you. And yet, in all this, you must guard your inner peace. Success is not measured only by what you acquire or accomplish, but by the quality of your mind while you live. If you are constantly restless, anxious, and unsettled, no outer victory can compensate for inner misery. Return often to the simple practices that anchored you in the beginning. Gratitude, honest work, quiet thought, meaningful conversation, time in nature, moments of silence. These are not ornaments. They are necessities that keep your mind fit to carry power without being corrupted by it. Finally, you must decide what your success will mean beyond your own lifetime. This is the ultimate test of how you think. A small mind asks, how much can I enjoy? A larger mind asks, what can I leave? Your thoughts now should turn to legacy, not in the sense of statues, titles, or public honors, but in the sense of principles, institutions, and examples that will outlive your presence. Will those who worked with you be stronger, more disciplined, more courageous because they knew you? Will those who come after you have a clearer path because you refuse to compromise? Will the habits you model be ones worth imitating? When you think like success before you see it, you build a life for yourself. When you think like success after you see it, you build a pattern for others. Look back for a moment on the whole road. There was a time when you had nothing but a restless dissatisfaction with where you were. You chose a definite chief aim. You learned to think like success when your hands were empty. You changed your habits, guarded your thoughts, endured the long, silent seasons where nothing seemed to move. You refused to measure yourself by others, refused to interpret delay as defeat. You watched your inner world grow stronger until, slowly, your outer world bowed to it. Now you stand not as a beggar of fortune, but as a proven master of your own mind. The law has not changed. It will never change. As you think, you become. As you believe, you act. As you persist, you create. You now know from lived experience that success is not a mysterious gift, but the natural result of a sustained inner condition. You have discovered that the real battlefield was never out there in circumstances, but in here, in the invisible arena of thought, where no one could fight for you. So remember this, and let it be written in the deepest place within you. You must think like success before you see it, while you see it, and after others see it. You must keep your mind anchored to purpose when you are unknown and when you are praised, when the doors are shut and when they are flung open. Let other men chase signs and omens, waiting for proof that they are allowed to rise. You already know that permission was never outside you. It was always in the thoughts you chose to accept, the aim you refused to abandon, and the daily discipline with which you honored both. From this day forward, walk as one who understands his own power. You are no longer the man who waits to be convinced. You are the one who convinces reality of what must be. Guard your thoughts, direct them, and keep them loyal to your highest purpose. Do this, and success will not be a single event in your life, but a continuous unfolding, a way of being that no loss, no critic, and no passing season can ever take from you.